Here are your hosts for the Super Soaker, Ben and Skin.
Ooh, soaked.
Yes, indeedy. It is time to get you soaked. It is the Ben and Skin Super Soaker every Tuesday and Thursday live stream right here on the Ben and Skin YouTube channel. I am the Skin and he is the Ben. And man, the text messages or the comment section is already red hot over here, Ben. As someone says, might be an opening on the morning show on the home of the Cowboys if you know anybody looking for a job. Damn. That is from Rodeo MT52. We'll get to that. We'll get to Agitated Jerry. We'll have Strip Mall Steve jump in with the news bender. But a special shout out to those of you that jump in early and send us messages like, oh, I like this one, man, Ben. Enrique says, I'm so horny for this show. And Enrique has a special gift back to you. Ben is horny for you. Ben, say something seductive to Enrique this morning.
We're going to sex you up with our words, and we're going to keep you soaked the whole time.
Oh, how you doing today, dude?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm so in love with everything that happened on the fan with Jerry Jones and Sean Sharif, and I guess RJ was there. This is very similar. And dude, we love RJ. I'm not taking a shot there, but it's like when Cuban wanted to have us fired from the ticket from the post-game show, you were the Sean of that equation. You went toe-to-toe with him, and I got real quiet, and my nuts actually went and hid inside my body.
I didn't. That's just because I didn't know any better. You were playing it smart. I didn't know that a couple days later Cuban would try to get us fired. And so that's why I always enjoy being called Cuban's bootlicker. But whatever, man. I mean,
right.
Life is full of twists and turns and fun stories and all of those things. What happened with Jerry Jones on the fan is very interesting. I mean, I just saw it like right before we went on the air. I read the morning news article and I was able to listen to about 7 minutes of it. And we will get into all of that, but we probably should talk a little Dallas Cowboys first. I mean, obviously we talked about it. You can hear our radio show every day from 3 to 6 on 97.1 The Eagle, me, Ben, KT, and Christina. And obviously yesterday was some real low rung stuff. When the Cowboys this year have played the really good teams, well, they haven't played a whole lot of really good ones, but they've had some blowouts, and Detroit is really hitting on all cylinders offensively. And they came into the Cowboys building and smoked their ass. And now the Cowboys have 4 straight games. I don't remember the exact stat, Ben, but I believe they have been outscored 110-35 in the first half of the last 4 games they've played at home, including the Packers playoff game last year.
They have one of the worst scoring differentials in the NFL, and they've given up the 3rd most points in the league. That was going into last night. I don't know if one of those teams overtook them last night, but I just know that it was the Jaguars and the Panthers were the only teams that had given up more points than the Cowboys. The Cowboys are those teams are 1-5. So the Cowboys are floating out a shit burger. There's no question. They are just an absolute turd. And this is the beauty of the NFL, and it's the beauty of Dallas Cowboys football. As shitty as it is, with the owner saying he's going to fire radio hosts and everybody pissed off, and it's such an absolute shit show, they're still 500. And so that's the tantalizing thing about the NFL and being a Cowboy fan in particular. It's an 8-8 league. The Cowboys are an 8-8 franchise. They're middle of the pack. And then can they just get hot at the right time and catch lightning in a bottle? They're never quite dead. They're never quite, a top 10 pick team, and they're never quite a real Super Bowl contender. And the valuation of the franchise just goes up and up and up and up. So Jerry Jones is really winning. He's making all this money, and he says they're broke. They don't have money to spend on the players. Look, we had to pay Dak and CD. We don't have another penny to pay anyone. We're screwed here, guys. You got to trust us. We're worth $10 billion, by the way. So anyways, this is the same old shit. I do wonder if Cowboy fans are finally nearing the end of the rope where, all right, man, not fucking falling for this anymore. This is bullshit. This sucks. We're not real. We're not doing things the right way. Fucking got sun in our eyes. There's a massive design flaw with the stadium. Fucking brought Zeke back. You know, we're like, our GM is our 82-year-old owner who lands a helicopter on the field during our practice. Took the entire offseason off. I mean, are people legitimately upset about this and willing to, I don't know, not burn a jersey, or they're not going to walk away? But I, you know, if the Cowboys win, people like me who are on a bipolar roller coaster, hyper emotional, we'll be right back on board, dude. We'll believe that this season, believe that it's possible. But I also believe it could go the total other direction, and this team could have a top 10 pick.
Yeah. By the way, Tommy G, fuck off. But so the interesting thing about this to me, when you talk about are Cowboy fans finally ready to jump off, you know, this is going to get depressing for me and you, but we're not far from being out of the demo. You know what I'm saying? Like in media terms and advertising sales, they talk about 25, 54, which honestly, that's archaic, because if you look at who has disposable income, blah, 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 whatever. But we're sniffing being on the wrong end of that demo, right? I think people that are our age or close to our age that did experience the dynasty and the 3 Super Bowl wins, and then you and I are old enough to actually remember when they beat the Broncos in the 1978 Super Bowl. As Tony Dorsett was kicking ass. And then we lived through the 80s with the rise of San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. But I think most of us, I mean, I watch every Cowboy game, and when there's a big play, I jump up and I spill my beer on myself and I say, F yeah, you know, and I yell at the TV, and I still do all that. It's almost ritualistic for me. But man, the second the game is over, I don't feel anything anymore. I feel apathy. To me, I'm entertained by it. I want it to go my way. I don't spend a single second thinking about how it impacts me emotionally once the game is over. I have reached that apathetic stage. Then you go, well, what about, I mean, I know a lot of people that are late teens, early 20s. I'll give you an example. I was talking to my daughter's boyfriend. He does not remember. He was not, wait, let me do the math. I think Jason Witten was a rookie before he was born. Ponder that. And Jason Witten wasn't even a part of the glory years. He's one of the all-time greatest Cowboys, but Jason effing Witten was not, it was a rookie for like his rookie year. People that are now 19 or 20. So what I'm saying is you have a whole generation of people that are Cowboy fans because of where they live or because their parents were, that don't have any real success to hang their hat on. And people that are my age and your age are just kind of over it. Like, do you have any friends that are your age that live and die on every play and their week is ruined if the Cowboys lose?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do. And I am like that. I wouldn't say my week is ruined, but I don't know that it ever really was completely ruined. But it's like, yeah, it's like I still love. I feel that way about the Rangers. It doesn't bother me if the Rangers struggle. I did get on the bandwagon and enjoyed that championship run, you know, winning the World Series. But the Mavericks and Cowboys still do that to me. And it still breaks my heart if they lose in the playoffs for the Mavericks or something like that. It'll stay with me. The Cowboys, it's a dysfunctional relationship. There's no question about it. Like, I keep going back to the team that is making me miserable. And, you know, I don't believe in choosing another team. No. And you know, we had that guy, he reached out to me on Facebook the other day. He goes, remember when I said that I was bailing on the Cowboys because this is horseshit and now I'm going to be a Chiefs fan? Well, this was the year I told you guys that, and look what they've done since then.
But
I'm like,
what does that mean to you?
I just,
you know what I'm saying? Like, how does you have any emotional connection to that?
So that's what I tried to teach my kids. I'm like, you're from here. These are your teams and you're rooting for this community. And two of my 3 kids, I think, follow that. My middle child is kind of contrarian. He became a Rams fan. He loved the Rams. Now, he stayed with it. Through highs and lows, he stays with the Rams, and the Cowboys are his second favorite team. But I was born and raised on Cowboy football. Like, my dad's mood would change. I was rooting for the Cowboys before I knew why, because my dad was in a better mood if they won. And so, yes, I still love Dallas Cowboys football, and it fucking sucks when they lose. But I just don't have any confidence in the organization anymore. And I feel like I'm kind of at the end of my rope. I don't know what I would do. I'm not going to go root for another team, but I kind of want them to hit rock bottom so they will do something drastic. And I don't know what that is, but like, we just assume that having Jerry be a part of this is an immovable thing and it'll never go away. So let's just pretend it's not happening while he fucks all this up. But I don't know, man. I hate it. I hate this. And I would rather always be contending or rebuilding. And they're stuck in that spot between heaven and hell. What's it called again?
Purgatory.
They're in purgatory. They're the Purgatory Hotdog boys.
You realize the Cowboys, and I could be wrong, someone will tell me if I'm wrong, the Cowboys haven't had a top 10 pick since Zeke. That was 9 years ago.
God. And they've had so many good regular seasons.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their best players, all of them were picked outside of the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
There's by the way, the guy told to F off earlier, Tommy, just because he said say one more F word, so fuck. Yeah, I think he kind of articulated exactly as how I feel. I mean, I love the Cowboys. I want them to win, but he says, as I get older, I just try to enjoy the ride. I give myself 12 to 24 hours to feel like crap. The team doesn't care anything about me. You know, and this may be a good place to pivot to Jerry, because if you have a chance to go check it out, he did have the closest thing he's going to have to a meltdown on the fan. And I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday morning. I literally saw it at 9:40 and we start streaming at 10. So I was reading the DM article and then I clicked on the link. It's like, do I have time to listen to this? And it jumped to the 12-minute mark and I was able to listen to like 7 minutes of it. But he, you know, one of the things that we always talked about when we talked with fans or, you know, people come up to you and they go, man, doesn't Jerry realize, doesn't this, doesn't that? And I'm like, no, he does not. He does not. Do you know why? Because you are a guy in the world and you have the job you have. And I'm assuming you're not a multimillionaire titan of industry. He risked everything, leveraged everything to buy a distressed asset in 1989. I think it was, maybe it was the end of 88. He bought a distressed asset headed for bankruptcy in a league that hadn't fully found its footing yet with their TV deal that he helped negotiate, leveraged his whole life and turned it into a $10 billion industry. So when Radio Boy, which I'm not saying that disparagingly to anybody, Ben and I are Radio Boy. So when Radio Boy tells you that you don't know what you're doing, that's comedy. That is high level comedy to a guy that's created something out of nothing that's worth $10 billion. He ain't listening to you. He doesn't value your opinion. He knows all the criticism. And he even said this to Sean and RJ. Well, it was an idiot thing to buy the Cowboys, wasn't it? Remember when y'all was an idiot for buying the Cowboys? And look at him. He's 82 or 80. Is he 82 or 83 now?
Just turned 82 on game day.
Yeah. And so like our criticisms, like what we feel with our connection to the team, he's impervious to it. Now, I do think he's agitated and he doesn't want to hear Radio Boy tell him that he didn't have the offseason he wanted. And then he does the whole thing where he goes, you guys think you're geniuses and come live in my, and that's fair, man. That is fair. We sit there and we talk into a microphone. We've never had the risk. We've never had to do it. We think, yeah, we know everything because we have a fantasy team or whatever. I get what he's saying. But, dude, if you go back and listen to that and have a chance to listen to it, it's clear that it is getting to him, and he was very agitated this morning.
Yeah, he was taking it back to, all right, you guys think I'm a dumbass, and everybody thought I was a dumbass when I bought the team, so what now?
Right.
So really, let's look at the overall ledger. My team's worth $10 billion. First of all, I listened to it just before we started this, and he started talking about Sean and RJ's job. Mm-hmm. He's like, your job is not to talk to the owner about the things I've done wrong, or I'm paraphrasing, something like that.
Right.
And he said, I don't want listeners to hear. He kind of started to think, I don't want listeners to hear that. That's not why listeners are here. And then he said, I could get somebody else to ask me these questions. And then Sean was like, well, hold on, that we're just doing this, this, and this. And he said, I'm not kidding. So I saw Kavanaugh comment on this. Maybe Jerry meant, I'm not going to have you fired. Maybe he meant I'll go on a different show.
Yeah.
Because, we work there. And, dude, the ticket has, I hear the promos. I listen to the ticket. I listen to the fan. I listen to them both. I listen to the Eagle. I listen to all of it. And the ticket does these promos like, hey, we're not taking Jerry's money. I'm like, but you did. You were the home of the Cowboys, so you decided to stop. And are you taking, don't they have the Stars?
They do have the Stars.
I'm like, are you taking the Stars money? So now, so we don't trust your Stars opinion? Like, it's a stupid promo game, and dumb people are manipulated by that shit. No one, when we were at the Fan, and we were there, God, we were the first radio show on the Fan when it flipped. Then we left, went to ESPN, came back, and we were there for another, 8 years or something?
I think that's right. 2017 to 2020. 7 years, I think.
No one ever told us what opinion to have. No one ever said, hey, listen, Jerry's listening. And Jerry would call in. He would just be listening, and he would call in. That itself is bullshit. And so I think you feel the same way I did. Sean handled that really well.
I thought Sean did a great job. I think he should be commended for how he handled that. Respect to him. He didn't get emotional. I mean, and really, it ain't Jerry's place to tell those guys, if those guys don't in Jerry's perspective, those guys don't know what they're talking about, and they shouldn't criticize the moves. Jerry has never hosted a radio show, so he needs to shut up about that, right? If you're going to talk that shit, then dude, don't tell me how to do my job. You don't know, but I'm being extreme, but you get my point. And I thought that Sean, it was mostly Sean doing the talking. RJ and Bobby, handled it great. And then there's a funny part where Bobby asked a question about the health of Tyler Guyton, and Jerry like that. Now that's a question, Thank you for not asking me something that is going to upset me. But I thought Sean did a great job. I thought all of them did a great job. And Jerry, sometimes people get older and they get more easily agitated. Jerry's always been amazing in that you can criticize and criticize and criticize, and he doesn't make it personal. Like that, I've always greatly admired that about him.
Same.
And part of it is the old adage of, it's like wrestling. It's like, I'm agitating all these people while I'm taking their dollars. And so maybe that's how he's always justified it in his mind. But for a guy that is incredibly stubborn, Jerry Jones is incredibly stubborn, and you see it manifest in a lot of different ways in regards to football, but there's nowhere that you see it more evident than what you talked about in a tweet, or you had it as part of some images. I am not going to stop that sun from coming into our stadium because I refuse to admit that I was wrong. That is one of the most public, stubborn things I've ever seen in my whole life. Yeah.
So dude, I had a former player reach out to me during the game about the sun, and I'm just like, it all kind of added up. And so I just said, fuck it. And I just had put this post together. It was nothing new. It's just accumulating all of these fuck show things that they've done. And it's like, okay, here it is. So it's like, should we be surprised that a team that built a stadium with a blatant design flaw, again, a team that wouldn't let Overshone wear number 0 because it's Rowdy's number. KT had that story. Overshone himself said he wanted number 0, but they said, no, we can't do it. That's Rowdy's number. That's ridiculous. That's the dumbest thing in the history of the NFL. If that's true, that's the dumbest shit ever.
But look, it's not even Rowdy's number. Rowdy's 00. Overshone wanted 0. What?
Well.
If you do integers, it's the same amount.
They brought Zeke back. They let Zeke go because Zeke was washed. They brought him back. And like, now let's let him be our running back number 1. They traded a 4th-round pick for a 3rd-string quarterback. I saw before we started this and KT had this 24 hours in advance. KT vindicated. Devontae Adams traded from the Raiders to the Jets for a 4th-round pick. Now, it's conditional. It could be a better pick, but that's how you use a 4th-round pick. You don't use it for a third string quarterback that you're not going to use.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Go back to that tweet. Let's see. Of course, anytime you're going to bitch about the Cowboys, you have to bring up that they drafted Taco over TJ Watt. You have to. You don't have a choice. It's been a long time, but never forget. Hashtag never forget. They didn't do anything this offseason. They brought in an aging middle linebacker, which they addressed that. That's great. They got a dead man walking coach who's walking the plank in the last year of his deal, a defense coordinator on a 1-year deal, and their 82-year-old GM who lands helicopters on the practice field during practice is the general manager in charge. Holy shit. It's shocking. It's so surprising that this team is struggling. No, it's not. And I was just ranting, and I was shocked. That thing's almost got 600,000 views.
Power of the Cowboys, man. And that's why Jerry's, he's agitated because no one likes to be criticized consistently over and over and over. But in a league that is designed for everybody to take a turn through parity, the Cowboys haven't been to a conference title game in 3 decades. Or 28 years or whatever it is now. That's out. That is, you almost have to try to be that bad. And if you look at the other teams that are in that boat, it's like the Commanders and the Dolphins, dude, that's where you are. Jerry likes to think of him as a franchise like the Niners and the Patriots. They're not. And they haven't been that for 3 decades. And please do not take this the wrong way. I am not saying I want Jerry to live to be 100 like Jimmy Carter. God bless you, man. You've been really nice to me and Ben in our interactions. I have no animosity towards you personally at all, but it's not going to change. It's just not. This is what it is. This is the way it's going to be. Just like the Mavericks are way different now than they were a year ago. And I don't know where they're going to end up, but they have a new ownership group. And so their things are changing. Now there was carryover in the form of Nico and J Kidd and St. Marshall. And we saw the news that St. Marshall is stepping down, but things are different now. Cuban's voice is not the dominant voice anymore. It's not. He sold the majority stake of the team. So the direction the team is going to go is different. The Cowboys' direction is the same direction. And I would argue that it is more stubborn and more, with more resolve, and it's not going to change or evolve because it is very, very rare in the history of the world in any regard that an 82-year-old suddenly changes the way he operates, especially an 82-year-old worth $10 billion. This is what it is, and this is the way it will be until Jerry Jones is no longer with us. And that's like what you started this whole conversation off with, this idea of, have people finally given up? Do they care? The money suggests no. The eyeballs suggest no. God, do you remember yesterday? It shocked me when I heard it. But listen to that Aaron Andrews audio. 42 million people watched the Cowboy Thanksgiving game last year. What?
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. This is not going to change. But I do look at somehow Jerry, I don't know, thinking about his own mortality, decided to mend fences with Jimmy. Is there a chance that he could be? Usually 82-year-old billionaires aren't convinced of something late in the game that, especially when they built a $10 billion franchise. I think that's the hope we all have, is that maybe he'll realize, holy shit, I am fucking this up. I need somebody that's a little more hands-on, and I'll kind of ease back. I guess it's probably not going to happen, but I think that is the hope. It is just so weird that as Cowboy fans, we're just like, all right, how can we do this even with him? Like, how can we? It sucks. And I love Jerry. I'm with you. I love Jerry. And if he would just step back a little bit and let a real football person and have a real coach and, anyways, it's the same old shit. But I do want to say this. Jerry can't fire anyone at the Fan. No. The Fan has, when you're a host there, or at any radio company, your contract is with the radio company, and then they negotiate broadcast rights. We're on the home of the Mavericks. The Mavericks can't fire us from our radio job. They can't say, hey, you can't say this about the Mavericks. It never would have happened with Jerry Jones. He could never control who. So if you are Sean or RJ or any of those guys today, anybody at the Fan, you are loving this because you're getting huge publicity. You're making massive news. You're loving this. And if you're at the Ticket, you're probably loving this too because you're going to pretend that Jerry was really talking about firing them and they don't take Jerry's money.
Right. No, that's, oh, by the way, I was about to say this. This is a good point that Keith brought up, said Dale Hansen might disagree. Dale Hansen worked for the team. Those guys don't work for the team. They work for the radio station. Now, Jerry Jones has a tremendous amount of influence. And if he was serious about this, he could go put tremendous pressure on Brian Purdy and Gavin Spittle over at the Fan, replace those guys. And actually, Ben and I went through that in 2002. And the station stood behind us. And I feel really confident that Odyssey would stand behind their morning show. Their morning show does well for them.
And it would be a great publicity. Just like it would have been great publicity for us if we had gotten fired or kicked out of the arena, which was threatened. That's awesome. You would love that. Hey, this is the show that Jerry wanted to fire.
Right. The show that Jerry couldn't buy. But I would say this to go full circle before we move on. The idea that you were just saying, maybe, Jerry will see the light, but it's doubtful at his age. I would suggest that, and again, I don't know if this was yesterday or this morning. I just saw it right before we streamed. His behavior on that radio show is a strong suggestion that he is nowhere near having any form of self-realization whatsoever about the state of this.
Right.
And, we're used to it, hey, Benny, having even said that, they're still coming off 3 consecutive 12-win seasons. And we were talking about this yesterday, and I set the over-under at 8.5. I was the only one of the 4 of us that thought that they would have the over and get at least 9 wins, and I still believe that. But, dude, if they lose their first 2 games right after the bye and the health still isn't good, obviously that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of opportunity in a bad division for the Cowboys to still win this division.
It's also legitimately a dumpster that is on fire and a dead coach walking. And so you might see some quit. Some people thought they already saw some quit, and especially in that defense. So if they start quitting on their coaches, if they don't believe, if they can't overcome these injuries, whatever it is, this could go really downhill fast. And then Jerry would love that narrative and that, okay, here's a big coaching change that's going to turn everything around this offseason and a high draft pick. So anyways, I don't know, man. I love it because it's the gift that always gives. There's always Cowboys content and there's always interest in Cowboys content. So pretty interesting, dude. I do want to mention this. There was a piece of a photo that I brought on a post I put out there yesterday, which was this is how I think Cowboy fans feel. This is a picture of a clown, and Jason, if you could pop that up there, Jason. It's a clown at McDonald's being Ronald McDonald, and then there's kids who are all around the table. They're all enjoying some McDonald's. That giant fat Ronald McDonald is so snug in that booth. I can relate to that. And then the kids are miserable. They're all screaming and unhappy. Now the question is, I think Cowboy fans are the kid with the arrow above him. Like, we're all trapped in that booth. We can't get out of here. The Cowboys, that's their $10 billion valuation, the giant clown. That's their $10 billion valuation. That's us with the arrow. And then it gets into a whole other discussion. Is this AI or not? The kids have some sort of something going on with their faces. The arrow is not an AI. That's a human arrow, though, and it does look like it's written on an actual physical photograph. So I guess I will just ask you this again, Skin. Is that AI?
I'll just say I don't want it to be AI. That's kind of what our reality is as humans now. I've seen something. I have no idea if it's real or not. How manipulated am I being? Who's manipulating me? I want that to be real more than anything. And so I'm going to lie to myself and say that is real. That was a birthday party from 1982. And I don't think any of those 3 kids on the right are doing well now. And I actually think you can't see it, or can you? Yeah, you can't see it. You just see half of an arm there next on the other side of the clown. I don't think that's a kid. I think that's a Vern Troyer styled little person. Like, look at that. I think the other three are kids. I think that's a little person. And no, that's not AI. That is real life.
That's not a little. That's a child.
No, that's a little person. That's Vern Troyer.
Those are all kids. Maybe what's happened here is the clown farted.
And that's why the clown's smiling.
Yeah. Maybe he put a log in his underwear, and that's why they're all miserable and they can't. But some people are like, hey, the drink is purple. That's AI. And they haven't touched their burgers yet. Their burgers are all at the same place. And I don't know, man. I don't know if it's AI. I don't know. But I love the picture. It's one of my favorite pictures I've seen on the internet.
It's great. And I know that right now it's time for this.
It's weird and wild. Let's see what's coming down the wire in the News Bender with pedestrian news fella, strip mall Steve Shackelberg.
Oh, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Look at that hair, Ben.
Look at that.
Out front.
Beautiful.
Just for you, just for today. Because I got some spicy stories. And I went tie off today just for you as well. That's right, yeah. Exactly. I'm feeling cash.
I just don't know if this is going to be real news or not now. He's so underdressed.
I understand.
You kind of have gone full Kurt Loder here. You look like this is MTV news.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, some days I bring a more serious tone. Today it's a casual Tuesday, all right? It's Indigenous Peoples Week for my children, apparently, so they're just around all the time now.
Dude, okay, so that's a real... How are they off all week?
All week. I don't understand it.
My son is off all week, and then apparently 3 weeks from now, he's off again for a couple days, and then they get a whole week for Thanksgiving. It's like they're college kids, man.
It's wild. I don't know. These kids need to get out of here, though.
Yeah,
just go bike around, or I don't know, get abducted by someone. I don't know.
Hey, we used to do that, right? Like we would just leave our house. So Steve, you're a lot younger than us, but I may have been the same for you. We would just be on our BMX Mongoose bikes, and we'd ride around the entire day, drink water out of yard hoses, and then our parents would be back for supper.
Yeah, right.
That's it. Go break an arm on a trampoline and have a hell of a time.
Yeah, my dad would be like, you better be back in this house before that street light's completely turned on. All right. See you in 12 hours.
You got it, Dad. Yeah. All right, let's get to some news here. It's very important. All right, according to a futurologist, we've got less than 3 months until women are engaged in widespread robot intercourse. That's right. Dr. Ian Pearson suggested way back in 2016 that by the year 2025, women will be hooking up with more robots than men. As we're fast approaching it here, doctors are saying it's not quite there yet, but we are nearing the threshold where it could be quite possible.
So hold on. I understand, what you're suggesting is a human version of the Sibian.
That's correct.
But you're telling me that we're this close to sex with robots, and the robots are already disinterested in the sex and want to think about sandwiches instead of what it is that their new lover wants with their needs.
Well, there were multiple predictions back in 2016. And I think you're right. I think at some point the robots will get disinterested. There's only so many moves, and I think they're going to learn them all pretty quick. I think they're going to get to sandwich level singularity faster than we can expect.
That is phenomenal. And again, as always, I love the artwork, and I love that the robot is holding a complete sandwich, is not taking a bite, doesn't even have a mouth, and also thinking of a complete sandwich. And she's like, excuse me, we're in bed here. Can I have your attention? And look at the weird bedside table that overlaps the mattress, and there's hot tea or coffee on that.
Wow.
And
that is a terrible bedside table. I didn't notice that.
And based on who they chose, Skin, there's no way you'd be focused on that sandwich. Just like that was made for you.
Oh, dude, I would have so much sex with that robot. So is that robot thinking of a better sandwich? Is that what sometimes the meal is put in front of you and you start thinking of a better meal, usually not in bed.
Yeah.
I think maybe a different condiment. That's the only thing I can think of because the sandwiches look pretty identical there. All right. Well, I think we got about as much as we could out of that one here.
Hold on, did we? Because Tracy said a sex robot without a mouth. No thanks.
There are maybe a mouth appears from underneath that screen or something like that. Maybe it's a flip top kind of thing.
Man,
Moonroof.
She's ready for the jackhammer, man. And dude, what a terrible sandwich. There's no lunch meat on that sandwich. It's all lettuce and tomato.
Yeah, that's a BLT without the B.
Yeah.
We'll take an LT.
Yeah, this is our future you're looking at, and it is terrifying.
That kind of reminds me of the robots you'd see in Sleeper, the great Woody Allen movie.
Right. And that's really good reporter work there. He put the end cap on it. He's like, and that is terrifying.
That's right. In other news, for the past 6 years, a mysterious person known as the Urine Bandit has been leaving bottles of urine all over an elite California neighborhood. Unfortunately, the man comes out at night, wears a mask and latex gloves, and leaves bottles of urine all over utility boxes. He strikes multiple times each week for the last 6 years. He's been caught on surveillance camera, but police have no leads.
Man, so this has been going on since 1930s Hollywood?
Okay.
Seemingly.
I don't think it's Hollywood. Let's look back closer at the AI sign in the background. It's called Wabapilly.
It looks like it's kind of inspired by Wade Phillips.
Wabapilly. It does. And now I love how everyone is so dressed up. Like even the bandit himself came out like, see, I've got some urine. See. And if you look at the neighbors, they're all wearing 3-piece suits, man. And they are super freaked out by his weird green giant container. And helicopters are swooping in.
That's where it gets weird. You look at how the lawn is, you look at how they're dressed. It's definitely the 30s or the 40s when people would wear that to work and wear that out socially and wear it to dinner. And then you have futuristic choppers. And I don't even are they on the case? Like, is this the moment where the man's been cornered and he's got a bomb strapped to him? I don't understand the scenario that's unfolding.
Yeah, Steve, what scenario is this?
This is probably a future portrayal of when they finally nailed this bandit, is what I think is happening here, because I don't think he's been unmasked yet, but I'm imagining that it's going to end up probably like the end of Goodfellas, where there will be helicopters circling, and this guy's going to go down in flames.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also, those guys are clearly playing out some sort of musical.
Guys, and that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. That is terrifying. All right, moving forward. Self-pleasure triggered a potentially deadly heart complication in a 59-year-old man, leaving doctors concerned and baffled. According to medics who treated the man, the self-pleasure session caused a tear in his aorta. But here's the weird thing. The man suffered no chest pain, no shortness of breath, no loss of consciousness or nausea. Instead, shortly after pleasuring himself, he experienced lightheadedness, a tingling sensation to both hands, and jaw tightness.
All right, Ben, I think you can jump in here first, but we have what we have learned last week. One thing that jumps out that is an absolute tenet of AI, and that is the love of briefcases.
I didn't even notice the briefcase. Okay, and dude, he's an amputee, but he does have a crotch leg that has a boot on it.
It's okay. So here's what I think your initial assertion is right. He is an amputee. I think that chair has a leg.
Okay, and Kat points out that he's got 3 uneaten pizzas. They're first of all, this pizza in the middle, it's not the right size box for the pizza. No. And he ripped the lid off it, but he's not eating the pizza. He just left those there.
What is that waste nightstick?
That looks like what is the fireworks thing, that Roman candle that shoots out? Oh,
yeah.
And Steve, as a credible news person here on a casual Tuesday, is standing by this and nodding as if all of this makes sense with the story.
Yeah, this guy's having a good time. This is how all of my self-pleasure sessions play out. I see nothing wrong with this photo.
He needed a bad rom-com. He needed a lot of uneaten pizza. He needed a ton of old remote controls. And he needed smoke coming out of what's happening next door. Is there something exploding through the wall that's going to knock that fern over? Like, what is that all about?
He likes fog machines, and occasionally I will ram my head into a wall like a rhinoceros.
Yeah. It doesn't look like he needs 2 remotes for that TV. You know, a lot of situations you get TV, you need a satellite remote. That seems like too much remote control work there too.
What do you think is the reason for those wadded up napkins?
You know.
And what I can't tell if that's like a Glock or a PS4 controller, PS5 controller, right? I don't know what that thing is.
He was gonna pleasure himself while eating pizza, watching TV, and firing off shots.
But you on the AI briefcase, I'll leave it to you guys. You guys are musically inclined, and that looks like it's not for paperwork. That looks like it's for an instrument.
I think it's got a trumpet or a cornet in there. What do you think, Steve?
I would go trumpet. That was my gut.
Actually, looking at that guy and what he's watching on TV, I think he might want it to be a flugelhorn.
Oh,
Right.
all right.
And
It's
look
like
at
a
his.
softer tone.
You do look at how he's definitely right-handed. He's pleasuring himself, and look how built his right arm is, and he's got his hand in the motion already.
Oh, it's in the motion.
What
So
a
he was-
what a strange decision to pleasure himself without taking his tight jeans off.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
and
let's face it, we've all been there, but still.
and that
Is terrifying. That's right. A final shorty, a food truck found a new way to keep its customers happy and make some extra cash with bird insurance. For an extra $1.25 added to any meal, customers can purchase bird insurance to receive a replacement meal free of charge if a bird happens to snatch it up.
That is the most 70s black dude I've ever seen.
That is Apollo Creed, man.
I can't tell you how many, commercials or sitcoms or dramas I saw as a child with a black dude that looked and dressed exactly like that. That's amazing.
That is phenomenal, and it's definitely a throwback to your point. It's definitely old school. He's got 2 sandwiches. He's got a full sandwich and another giant sandwich. And there's 2 drinks, like maybe 2 people were there, but they're eating in the street. There's a hearse there in the background. They're just eating at a table right next to a car that's parked. And then if you look at the stores, you got an Arathia and a Dalamo back behind you.
I used
Very
to go
popular.
to those as a kid. We would always stop off at Arathio and Dalamo's. What about the hearse deciding it was going to make a 9-point turn and head the other way? So do you think he bought that food for the bird? And that's what's going on there?
I think he's thinking, I'll give this bird a peace offering of 1 sandwich, and then I'll get to eat the other one.
That's fair.
That's
And
why
is that
they need the
another little-
insurance.
Is that another little tiny bird over there on the curb?
Yeah, I
What
think
is
it
that?
is.
It is. That is a tiny bird. But yeah, at a certain point, you just have to buy a second sandwich for the bird. I think that's what customers were doing. They're like, well, if a bird's going to steal it, I got to get 2. That way I can just throw 1 to the bird to keep it off me. So that's why they introduced the bird insurance. $1.25. It's a moneymaker, really.
Yeah.
That's really. Why do you think AI thinks that humans order so much food that they don't eat? I mean, that's what we've learned from the last 2 slides.
Yeah, they
People
can't.
way over order.
I bet it can't do a good job of showing half-eaten food. It only shows completed food from like restaurant menus, since people don't take shots of their food once it's getting eaten. It's probably that.
Ben, do you think we
Unfortunately.
should be done with Steve?
No, I've got.
No,
I just don't think
Okay, this is an amazing comment from Joel. The bird is there to take his wallet, the one that says bad motherfucker on it.
Oh, yes, indeed.
I want to, before we get out of here, maybe we can do some Mavs talk, but I want to hit a tweet that I sent out. I don't know, it was on Sunday. I think it was on Sunday, maybe it was Saturday night. But man, I got a ton of backlash on it and immediately had to start issuing apologies to people. Go ahead and fire that thing up there. Well, we saw it for a second. It'll come back. So Landon Thomas is a guy that does some Mavs media stuff. I think he's got like an independent website. He's there. He works hard. He's there at all the games. And I saw this tweet and he said, if Mav fans have to get an antenna to get games on TV, this TV deal is suspect. The point was free and easy, accessible. They should have a streaming app if all non-nationally televised games aren't on WFAA 8. A lot of fans don't have Channel 29. 2 weeks until the season. And so I'm reading this, and, this is one of those things where I'm way too close to the sun because I've lived this. I have lived through the Bally experience the last 3 years where all people are doing is bitching at me online and tagging Cuban and bitching about Bally, which is something the team couldn't control. They had a deal with Bally. Bally had the rights. Bally was going through its bankruptcy and its restructuring. And I don't know if you had the Bally streaming app. All anybody ever did to me about the Bally streaming app, including friends, was bitch about it. This streaming app sucks. My cable provider doesn't carry Bally anymore. This sucks. All of this sucks. So 3 years of bitching about the Mavericks is all I heard. Okay, that's it. Then the Mavericks could have gone back to Bally this year. Okay, the way the deal was structured, they could have gone back to Bally and did one more year, but I'm not privy to the reasons why. I'm assuming it's because they didn't see a future in it and they wanted to make a break. And last year, as part of the bankruptcy deal, we had, I think it was 10 of our games or 8, I can't remember, were put on WFAA and Channel 8. And it was good time. They were primetime games, and it was good timing, I think, probably because of the writer's strike, right? I think it was easy for them to do some of this. I don't know all the details. But when we aired those games on Channel 8, Ben, my Twitter blew up. I used to do Mav games and have Twitter interaction all night long. And then it stopped about 3 years ago. Part of it is the algorithms. Part of it is that not as many people were seeing games anymore. So suddenly my Twitter was blowing up and I saw the ratings and it was like triple of what the Bally games were. So suddenly way more people are seeing games, way more. Like the numbers bear it out. It's night and day. So here we are, and Channel 29 is a local channel that it's not on YouTube. I don't know if it's on Hulu. I have Uverse and it's on Uverse. I'm going to get it. But also, if you can't get it, you can go buy a $35 digital antenna and you can get it. Now it's only on one TV and you'd have to buy a DVR. But my whole point is knowing what they've been through and how much bitching has been going on there, and knowing how it's way more available than it was. It's not 100% there. It's not perfect, but knowing that way more people can see the game, I'm looking at this and I'm going, are you serious, Landon? Like, you're still bitching because it's not, Nirvana. And so that's why I said what I said. Let's try to be objective here. If you're unwilling to get a digital antenna for like $35 to watch 70 Mav games, you ain't really that big of a fan. You just want to complain about shit. It hasn't been this available to everyone since K-Star days. That is kind of true. And this is where I was a big jerk and I needed to apologize. There's a lot of people outside of market that were able to get Bally, and now, like, we have a big viewership in Arkansas. They're screwed for whatever reason. The NBA League Pass is blacked out in Arkansas. The blackout rules are insane. They're so stupid and archaic, but that's an NBA issue. That's not something the Mavericks can control. But anyways, I took the wrong tone. There are people that are screwed in this deal. Everyone just wants their games. Even though it's way better than it was, it's not perfect for everybody yet. And I shouldn't have been a dismissive jerk. I think I was a jerk because of everything I personally had been through in that regard. And I wasn't smart about it. And I owe a lot of people an apology about that.
At least you're an asshole. And I think that is the first step to not being an asshole, is just to admit it and own it. And you're wearing it, and you've just admitted to the world that you're a total dick. And that is huge for you and your growth.
But I can't change my stripes. I'm still going to be an asshole.
Still going to be an asshole, but you're going to give the occasional apology now. And that's a huge breakthrough. And that's why there's hope that Jerry could also realize who he is and what's going on, because you've done it here. He's
too old. Now I'm old.
Now,
he's got 30 years on me.
I will say this. People do just like to bitch about that deal.
That's what social media is for, is I'm going to bitch.
But I am a huge Mavericks fan, and I will not let anything stop me from getting those games. And it's not even just being a fan. It's like what this moment in time for the franchise is. I don't want to miss it. Like no matter what I got to pay, I'll figure out a way to keep food out of my kids' mouths if I have to watch the Mavericks. Because like, I'm just saying, I will take money from some other spot in my life, play a shell game, and I will pay whatever I have to pay because the Mavericks have Luka. That's like Jordan Bulls. And I know that how many championships he won. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they have the best player on earth, arguably. They have another probably top 15, top 20 player on earth, which if you only had him if you had Kai as your number one, a lot of teams in the league would be, all right, we got a pretty good number one. They got two. They've got two legit rim running centers. One of them, his future is so unbelievably bright. They've got Klay Thompson now. I'm just saying, whatever it costs to watch Mavs basketball, I'm going to do it because I don't want to miss this moment in time. That said, I understand it's frustrating for a lot of people. I've got a friend who lives out somewhere near Olney, and he's always, will you ask Skin what the TV deal is? I need to find out if I'm going to. I know it's been hard for people to get these games. Yeah. And when they suddenly got on FAA, and, okay, look, have you sold your $70,000 golf cart? I get it. Not everyone has a $70,000 golf cart like me. Yeah. And so I know that dude, I go buy Grey Poupon from Costco. Like I've got the most Grey Poupon ever. I'm super rich.
You bougie dog.
But look, I'm not going to let anything get in the way of me watching the Mavericks. And if you told me that, hey, go buy a $35 antenna, it's going to be $2 per game, I would hang that thing on my roof or put it on my fence or hold it in my lap as a codpiece, firing off fireworks on my codpiece. Like, that's a great deal to me. So I understand both sides. I think it's very nice of you to apologize. I think it's very authentic. And
my tone was wrong.
Yeah, I think it's very nice of you to do that.
I think sometimes I go into social media world and I see what the behavior is and I don't do anything better. I just adopt the same behavior and act like the same dick. Right. And it's like, all right, now I'm swimming in the stream doing the same thing. And that's probably wrong because there's a lot of people that are really, really frustrated by it. And there's a lot of people that their situation won't be resolved immediately. But let me ask you this, and I get it. Part of it is, if you've created your own media outlet, part of it is about fan engagement and getting people riled up. I saw one guy saying, hey man, leave Landon alone. He's just being an advocate for the fan. And I'm like, well, he's a credentialed media member. Trust me when I tell you he would rather be a credentialed media member than an advocate for the fan, right? Like he can get that media credential taken away if he's just fanboy. He's not. He works his ass off, covers the games, creates content, okay? He's not fanboy. But the thing that I would say is, and this is why I said let's try to be objective here. You got to compare it to what the situation was. And let's think about this. If you really think for a minute that the Mavericks won't have a streaming app or platform very, very soon, I don't think you're really thinking this thing through.
Ooh, really?
Oh, I bet. I don't know this. I bet they have something streaming by the All-Star break. That would be my guess.
Badass.
And it's like all of these decisions are made. It's the team and the broadcast department in concert with the NBA. Like what the Stars have done. I haven't watched a game yet, but I've talked to people that have. Their app is up and going. I don't know what their situation was with Bally. I think they were able to make that decision before the Mavericks were able to make their decision. And these things take time. But man, if you really think the Mavericks are like, nah, we don't want streaming, we're good, I don't think you're really thinking this thing through. I think as soon as it's perfected and ready, I think there will be a streaming option. Wow. Maybe it is on Victory Plus. Maybe they create their own thing. Maybe they wanted to see how Victory Plus worked before just committing to a deal, which, by the way, the NBA has to approve and be involved in. The Mavericks just can't work autonomously and do whatever the hell they want.
Are you being a league? Are you yelling at Landon again?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So my point being is that your frustrations are justified because all you want to do is what Ben said. All you want to do is watch the game. You want to watch the game because you love the team. I get it. They have greatly improved their situation over last year, and I would suspect that improvement will continue. And in the year 2024, I think if your criticism is, this is ridiculous that the Mavericks don't think about streaming, dude, they're thinking about it. And they will get it resolved because, yes, they are aware that it's 2024, and I think it will be available to you sooner rather than later.
You sounded like that country music lady that we were talking about on our show yesterday.
Lainey Wilson?
Yeah, she said Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
There are
going to be lots of surprise Thanksgiving. You watch.
I do want to mention something real quick. I think that was very nice of you to apologize, and I think that is tantalizing, knowing that there could be an app out there. And I do.
There will be. It may not be this year, but there will be.
Yeah, it's. We've talked about this before, where media consumption habits change, and our kids look at TikTok and YouTube more than they look at any other place, and it's almost like all this stuff is splitting up, and then it's like, hey, how can we throw all this stuff back together again? It's real weird.
We need to cobble it.
Okay, I want to invite everyone to follow us on all social media platforms, and there's some things that we put out on some platforms that we don't put out on others. Like Ben and Skin, there's a Ben and Skin YouTube channel. Obviously, that's what this is on. There's a Ben and Skin Facebook page. There's the Freak After Party group. There's the Walker Told Me I Have AIDS group. There is Ben and Skin Twitter, and there's Ben and Skin Instagram. And on our Instagram account, Jason, if you could throw some of these up, I've been promoting the show. I've been making these new videos. Take a look at this. We can't play audio.
I haven't seen this yet.
We can't play audio with it. But look at this. This is the weirdest show on the radio.
Am I Hasselhoff?
Yes, you are.
And you're Andre the Giant.
Yes.
And that's just normal KT. Is that
Taylor Swift.
Gene Wilder from Everything You Always Wanted to Know About? Oh, God, look at that.
Look how magically weird that is. Seth Rogen is who KT is, and
Christina reminds me of she might even be in a Seth Rogen movie. Who's the girl from Superbad?
No, she's I just said it. She's what's her name? Kelsey's gal.
Oh, is that Taylor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Look at that, dude. That's the weirdest promo ever made. The speakers keep moving in the back. There's music behind it. We can't play it on this because YouTube will kick us in the nuts.
I can't believe iHeart spent all that money on that promo.
So I've always loved, like, we got this guy, Kevin Summerlin, who does these great Photoshops for us, puts our heads on things. But now with AI, you can hit play on this one. I haven't done one for Christina yet because if you Photoshop her head on something, you got to be real careful for HR reasons, you know? So I thought Taylor Swift would be a nice choice there. But this is me on Bigfoot's head from the $6 Million Man.
Incredible, dude.
And it looks so real, doesn't it?
Yeah. That looks amazing. Kind of has a Merlin Olsen vibe.
Now, this is you on Dan Marino's high school picture.
It reminds me a little bit of the time I was merged together with Brad Davis.
Yeah. Very much good. That is Dan Marino's high school fro right there.
His hair is dope. God, I wish my beard still looked that good. That beard is sick.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good. And that's not those. Oh, and this is KT is Travis Tritt.
Amazing.
Look at that, dude.
Dude, Country KT from Olney immediately knew the album cover it was based off of. Yes. He had 4 copies of that record, one for each room in his double wide.
Yes, he did. And so I put this out on the Ben and Skin Instagram account. And then I invited the Eagle to, cohabitated or whatever. To what is that called?
Collaborate.
Collaborate. And so what are rock fans thinking as they get some of this stuff? I don't know how they're supposed to. Oh, look! Paul and the Tall Trees. He said legend on that one. That is badass.
Yeah, that is amazing. I love those, man. That's a lot of fun. Is that so? What? That's just. I mean, I'm sound like an idiot. That's just AI doing all that, huh?
No, that is AI doing. There's AI involved in the face swap. Okay. But then there's other manipulation on another app. This took 5 different apps to pull off.
Oh, it's amazing.
5 different apps are involved in this creation. You got the speakers in the background. You got the laser eyes. The beards were filled up a little bit. Yeah, you can change facial expressions. Once you take someone's face and pop it on another face, you can then manipulate it. You and I were both made. Those were made without glasses, so I had to add glasses on another app to our faces.
The idea that a wrestler that is Ben the Giant would get ready to go into the ring with his glasses on is amazing to me.
Isn't that great?
What is around KT's neck?
That's one of those, because that's the picture. What's his face took? I said his name right. Seth Rogen. He took that picture for some reason, and so I just popped KT's head on there.
You know who KT looks like there to me? He looks like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then KT gets a lot of that same ass. You know what I'm saying?
With Christina, I'm just so respectful and careful. I'm like, got to be real careful what you pop a lady's head on, because then it's like, wait a second, did you like? I had her on another Hollywood actress on the red carpet, but I was like, wait, that's probably too revealing of a neckline. That's unfair to Christina. So I then found very tasteful Taylor Swift one and just popped her head on that one.
It's funny because you're trying to be nice, but she's like the least Taylor Swift person of all time.
Yes.
You should have stuck her head on the body of Lita Ford, the badass guitar player that was married to Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath.
So here's the thing about that. I started looking at things like that to do, but then you just take a picture of Christina.
That's a great point.
It's just her. And so you just put, because if you just search Christina or look at her social media account, she's a rocker, man. She's got great pics doing cool shit all the time. She's like, you don't have to Photoshop her on somebody jamming on guitar because she does it with her band Oatmeal Pizza.
That's a great point.
You know, she's already living that life. You know, you don't have to Photoshop.
Well, those are amazing. We would love it if you guys would go. So those are on the Ben and Skin Instagram page, Benny?
Yeah, and there's only 8,683 followers there. And this is the thing about we're going to try to put different things out on different platforms. And so if you're following on one, doesn't mean you shouldn't follow on others. If you guys are on Instagram, do us a favor. Go follow that account. And follow us on all the social media platforms. And don't forget to join the Complete Fun Package. Once we get to our target number, okay, we're not going to tell you what it is, but we're closing in. We could probably get about 150 more people to sign up for the Complete Fun Package. And we will start.
Ben.
Yep, holy shit. We will start giving things away. We're going to give away tickets to sporting events and concerts. We're going to give away meet and greets. We did the meet and greet with Luca last April. Who do you want this next meet and greet to be with? We're going to give away a TV, a computer, all sorts of cool stuff. But we need y'all to help with the grassroots. You got to keep inviting people to sign up for the Complete Fun Package. That way we can send you emails. And just by registering, you'll be entered to win every contest that we ever do.
It's all part of the Complete Fun Package we're throwing out here.
That's right, Dirk. And with that, that's going to do it for today.
Wait.
What?
There's one thing to promote. Because I saw a lot when we started. We barely got into talking Mavs, and I saw somebody go, "Hey, they wanted to talk. How far do you think the Mavs will go?" We have a special thing to promote on this YouTube channel. I'd like to give you the floor.
Yeah, great job. We are going to do a version of the Super Soaker, but it's going to be the Mavs SOAKTACULAR season preview. Make plans to watch it Monday night at 6 p.m. right here on this YouTube channel. We'll blast out all the links. But a week from last night, so next Monday, the season starts next week. First home game is Thursday night. I think that date is the 24th. Monday, October 21st at 6 o'clock, be right here on this YouTube channel, and you will be able to watch our Mavs SOAKTACULAR season preview. And we are going to have a very special guest. And I'll give you a hint. He is a big dog in the Mavs Twitter world, and Ben worships at his altar. So it's going to be fun. We're going to do our whole season preview right here on our YouTube channel. And then I think right after that, we'll have another really big Mav announcement that we'll be bringing your way. So
love it.
Stay engaged, man.
All right. So we need Jason or somebody. Please do us a favor. Put the link to join the Complete Fun Package. It takes 30 seconds. Put it in the comments here so folks can just click on that, fill out a couple questions, and they'll be signed up for the Complete Fun Package. Put that link in there for us. Appreciate it. All right. Peace.
Bye.
This has been another Iron Balls production.
Iron Balls!